Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav, and I'm really fucking depressed.
My name's Harmit. I'm doing okay. That threw me off guard.
I was gonna see what you said. I was hoping you'd say something like, I'm fucking sleep deprived.
I mean, I am, but at this point, it's like, do I even have to say that? We all know from my yawns.
That's true, but like, now especially so.
Yeah.
Anyway. And this is a... No. I was gonna say a Game of Thrones.
I know you were.
I can't help it.
I know.
And this is A Clash of Kings, chapters 13, 14, and 15. Jon, Arya, and Tyrion. In these chapters, Jon and party come across an abandoned village. Arya and party come across an abandoned village. Tyrion abandons Cersei's plan to armor the guards and then abandons Alyaya to go see Shay. Yay!
Yay.
Hey, y'all. We're here. We're tired. We're a lot of things, but most of those are not great things. So we're going to move on from that to, can you guess?
30-second summary.
No.
Oh?
Emails.
Oh my gosh, we're doing emails at the start, getting us hyped up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Honestly, I want something good at the start, so I'm going to read a couple emails from the fans, because, you know, we're famous. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
No, from our friends.
The first email was sent on November 28th, and I didn't read it until the next day, and I was having a really bad day the next day, but anyway. So it says, Dear Nav and Harmith, my name is Brian. Hey, Brian. And I am from New York. I have been a fan of your podcast for several months now. Hang on. I want to do a thing where I can see your goddamn face. Okay.
Is that what he
my
said?
name is Brian.
Or is that what Brian said in the email?
No, and that's what I'm saying. Redo. So the email reads, fan mail. That's the title.
Nice.
Or subject, I guess. And it says, Dear Nav and Harmith, my name is Brian and I am from New York. I have been a fan of your podcast for several months now. I was a show watcher like Nav, and I had read A Game of Thrones many years ago. I had only read a third of A Clash of Kings, but had not read it in 5 years. I was looking forward... Oh my gosh, I can't read today. It says I was looking for a podcast where I could read along with the episodes, forming an online book club as motivation to keep reading. I began looking in August and found you guys had just finished the first book. I spent a few weeks listening to the backlog to remind myself what happened in detail, and have since been reading the chapters of A Clash of Kings with you. After listening to an episode, I read the next chapters right away and patiently wait 2 weeks to find out what the next chapters we're reading. This... God, I would have no patience like that. It really has rekindled my love for this series, getting to be in the thick of it again. I have a suggestion, if you may. It's great hearing Harmith's perspective as a first-time reader, but I would love to hear more of Nav's first impressions of the many twists and turns of the story. I know, having watched the show and read the books, it's hard to talk about things without thinking of what comes after, but I think what past Nav thought about this segment would be very interesting.
Ooh.
Noted, Brian. I will think of ways to incorporate that.
I think you do that. I think you do that a little bit, but on the other hand, I also feel like sometimes you probably don't want to spoil, because I feel like your predictions were probably more right than mine always
and
are.
Also, like, there's because my first impression wasn't of the book.
Right.
They were of the show.
Right.
And the way things are done in the show are different.
Right.
So I'll try harder for sure, though. I will try to remember back and say what I can without spoiling.
Remember back many score years ago.
Yeah. So anyway, Brian continues. As for a book recommendation, because I think we asked for book recommendations at some point.
Yeah.
I know it's not prose, but have either of you read the comic Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples? It's an absolute masterclass of comic storytelling and one of the best pieces of fiction from the last decade. If you need any more convincing, look up pictures of the character Gus. No, wait. Sorry, pronounced Goose. I like, while looking at it, I mispronounced it.
Gosh.
And I looked it up, and this character is adorable.
Aww.
So I actually have this comic on hold at our library, so I will be checking it out over the winter break.
Nice.
Yay.
Oh my gosh.
And then Brian says, to wrap up, I want to thank you for the time and effort you put into the podcast. You're welcome. Our journeys through A Song of Ice and Fire are now intertwined. Here's hoping, however unlikely at this point, that leads us through blank and blank. The two blanks being names of potential future books.
That
I don't want to tell
What do you
you.
mean potential future books?
Because, like, he hasn't released them. So,
sorry.
like,
yeah, gotcha. I thought Brian was saying the names of, like, the third or fourth book, and I was like, what do you mean? Why are those potential
this
books?
is, like,
Gotcha.
book 6 and 7.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah. And then, sincerely, Brian Carey.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then, since I told you, like, I was having not great day that day, I read this email in the morning, and I was like, oh, hey, Brian, thank you so much for your email. I wasn't feeling too great today, but your email made my day, and I can't wait to share it with Harmith on the podcast. And then I also shared a link to that week's episode early with him, like a couple days in advance, because I was like, I want to thank you, but I don't know how.
Oh,
And that week I was like on top of my shit, so we already had the episodes.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh.
Yeah, so I said this in the email, but seriously, I commend your patience, because if I were you, I would just like read the whole book in one go, but we're so glad we have somebody reading along.
Yeah, thank you.
Aren't you?
Yeah, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Brian. That was really sweet of you.
And I'm sorry I can't read today. I'm you know.
Oh my gosh, no, it's all good.
And then, so great email, made my day. I think a day or two after that, I got
We have
another
Yo!
email. I think this was on the Wednesday that we released. Like,
Right.
and this is, I'm looking at the timestamp. This was 7:30 in the morning. So,
Oh my gosh.
email by Motts. We heard from Motts earlier. And looks like he listened to it really early. So anyway, his email is titled "Fuck Theon."
Fuck Theon. Oh my gosh.
So Mott says, "Hello there. After listening to today's episode, Theon and I don't know who else was there. Daenerys.
Yeah, I just remember us shitting on Theon.
Yeah. After listening to today's episode, I felt like I had to email you again. Sorry about the amount of emails. Do not apologize. I love getting emails.
This is great.
Send me
what are you
more.
talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. So he says, anyway, thank you so much for the Theon slander. I really appreciate it. He is the absolute worst and he deserves it. Fuck Theon. Hearing
so
y'all
funny.
relentlessly shit on him was honestly really cathartic for me. And if there's one thing I need in my life right now, it's catharsis. I hope y'all continue shitting on Theon in future episodes. By the way, did I mention fuck Theon? Because fuck Theon.
Oh my gosh.
Mats is like, we are so on seeing eye to eye on this.
That's so funny.
Thank you for this podcast. I love it so much. Postscript. P.S. Also known as postscript. The moment where Jorah mentions that his second wife kind of looks like Daenerys is gross and I hate it so much. I somehow forgot about it until I started rereading the series recently. Anyway, my life is worse now. Postscript. Fuck Theon.
Oh my gosh. He's such a funny emailer.
Oh, let's count how many fuck Theons there are. So the title 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 fuck Theons in a relatively short email, but I love it. I loved all of it.
That's amazing.
Thank you, Mats.
That's amazing. Man, Theon really pissed a lot of people off.
He is terrible.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
I'm just realizing I was like excited and I was yelling during that whole reading of emails. I didn't realize how loud I was.
It's okay.
Anyway, I thought we would start off with those wonderful gems.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We should do emails at the beginning.
Okay. Next, what we do? Oh yes, now 30-second summary.
Yeah.
30 seconds each. Ready?
Nope.
Well, 3, 2, 1, Jon.
Okay, we finally make it past the wall and we're here and like they're like going through villages and there's like nobody there and it's like completely isolated and they're like, where are all the wildlings? Like, what's going on? This makes no sense. And then Jon's like, and then Commander's like, go, Jon, give this to Sam. He's gonna go give a bird to Maester. And like they have a lot of people out here and like everybody's getting frustrated and like there's just so much going on and like there's
Switch.
Okay, who's next? Oh, Arya. Okay, so Arya, they get to the lake, or they're like at the lake, and they're like, okay, we have to cross the lake, and they're like, we can't cross the lake here, let's find a way to cross the lake. Couldn't find a way to cross the lake, so they're like, we're gonna go around the lake, and then we're gonna cross the God's Eye, and they're gonna do that. And then they get to that holdfast that's there, and there's like nobody there, once again, complete isolation, they're like, what's going on? And then they're trying to sleep, and then the people come, and they start burning everything. And then they're like,
Switch.
Oh wow, that was way too slow. Who's next? Tyrion.
Tyrion.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so they're in that meeting, and Cersei's like, oh my gosh, Stannis' letters accused me of things I totally did. And then Tyrion goes to the brothel, and then secret passageway, and then talks to Varys, and then gets a mule/horse, and then him and Varys have a moment, and he's making like a chain for Joffrey.
Okay, that's a minute.
Oh my gosh, why was Tyrion the only one where I actually said things?
It was funny to me when you said so much is happening about Jon because literally nothing happened in this chapter.
Yeah, I know. I just meant like I don't actually know what I meant. I don't know why I said that. You're right. Nothing happens.
Okay, and you were a little bit confused about like Arya and their group, like where they're going, because it's a river. It's not the lake.
Oh, I don't know why I said
God's Eye is the lake.
Oh, right. Okay,
they're trying to cross a river. They can't.
Yes, my bad.
And then they end up at the God's Eye.
Yes, I got you.
Okay.
I just like usually lakes are like blank lake. Well, not usually, but the lakes that I am accustomed to are like blank lake.
Yeah, God's Eye Lake.
Yeah.
Instead of just like God's Eye.
Yeah. I knew it was a body of water, but that was it.
So, let's get started with Jon, I guess.
Yeah.
We have a time limit,
yes,
remember?
We do.
I guess. To try to keep us on track. Okay, so, go.
Okay, so we start the chapter, and we're at White Tree, which is a village. And Jon's kind of like... It was interesting to see, like, what Jon thought of this village versus, like, what this other guy thought later. But anyway, so Jon's just kind of, like, looking down on the village, and he's like, this ain't much of a village, buddy. And then we get to the weirwood, and this weirwood is gigantic, and it's, like, looming over everything in the entire village.
Yeah.
And they're kind of just, like, talking about the significance, and they're looking at the face, and Jon's kind of like, yeah, this isn't just, like a random face carved in the weirwood. Like, this has this, like, eerie, like, natural quality, which is kind of messed up.
Yeah. And not to mention, well, don't forget the bones.
Yes, there's bones there, and it's...
And he's like, well, those aren't sheep bones or something.
It's like, clearly, buddy.
Yeah. I think I don't know, does he mean... Because they talk about how, like, the, wildlings, the free folk,
Yeah.
always burn their dead.
Yeah.
And like we know now why that's a tradition, you know. But if John were like, oh, I would expect I think there's aspects of either, they burn their dead and that's where they keep the leftover bones, or they were performing some kind of a sacrifice. And instead of using a goat, they used humans. What do you think about that possibility?
Oh my gosh. I don't like that.
Because like, why else? Why would there be sheep bones in there either?
Yeah. Either way, that doesn't really.
Because I'm thinking, like, it's either this is just where they stored their bones, or I'm leaning kind of towards like, I wonder if it's a sacrifice to to the old gods.
Oh my gosh.
Like, we haven't, that's not been, a thing, but...
But, we also haven't met any free folk yet, so how would we know if that's
exactly.
a thing that we do?
I mean, the Starks keep the same gods, but they are also south of the wall. Maybe they've lost the ways or something.
Their traditions have just evolved differently. That's definitely possible. Yeah, oh my gosh. I don't like the idea of that possibility, but now that you mention it, I would not be shocked if that was...
Also, let me show you this, share my screen and show you the illustration in the book.
Yeah, I want to see this.
Look at this shit. Is that not the creepiest shit you've ever seen?
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
It is so disturbing.
Oh my gosh.
I came across this and I was like, I know what all of this is about, but this is too much.
Yeah. Yo.
So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then, the mouth and all the bone. It's a lot.
The drooping eyes, kind of.
Because we know their eyes have the red sap, so it looks like they're crying. But this is extra.
Yeah.
So I'll add a link to this in the show notes. I always try to whenever we mention some visuals, but check it out, y'all. It's something.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So
then they're like, okay, we're at this village, go take a look around, see if there's anything suspicious. And John gets paired with someone named Edison Tullett. And
AKA Dolores said.
Yes.
The only real purpose of this chapter, which is that we meet him and he's great. Because they're looking around and it's John's like, what a dismal place to live. And Ed says, I was born in a house much like this. Those were my enchanted years. Later, I fell on hard times.
Yeah. But also, he said, I'd give all the gold in Casterly Rock to sleep in a bed again. So is he from there? Is that
Oh no, that's just I would give anything.
That's
an expression because all the gold.
But why do they use Casterly Rock? That's not
because Casterly Rock's got all the gold. Remember, the Lannisters are rich because of all the gold.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they mine gold.
Oh,
in that area.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
And there's rumors that Tywin Lannister shits gold. We've come across this before.
My gosh, yeah. I have no recollection of... Usually when I forget things, it's after you mention them, I remember them, but this feels brand new, even if it's not...
I'm very sure we've already come across all of this.
Okay, well, that's good to know, because I was like, what? That's interesting. But yeah, he's so, He's just hilarious. His internal his internal monologue is interesting because it's he's very pessimistic, but at the same time he's entertaining.
He's very funny.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird combination, but it was just we've had this a couple times where we compare where John comes from versus where everybody else at the wall comes from, and it just comes up here again, just how differently they consider everything.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
John
his name is, he's called Dolores Ed. This is his specific personality. Yeah. people are not as privileged as John, but this dude has a real not great outlook on life.
Yeah.
Which I understand. So
yeah. Homie's not doing great.
Yeah, okay, so let's get through this a little quicker. So they mentioned that this is like the 4th village they've come across that's been abandoned, and nobody can find any animals or, any game to hunt, and Ghost can't find anything either, so they're like, ooh, something scared it away. And there's this guy called Giant who's actually pretty short, but he's good at climbing trees, so he's like their scout. And Mormont decides that they're gonna like keep going. They're not gonna hang out in the village because there's like 4 houses. It's not gonna house very many people anyway, so like they may as well be close to a lake and some water or something. And John's like, and then that's when he tells John to be like, hey, take this letter to Sam so he can send a raven to Maester Aemon. A raven to Maester Aemon.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh my gosh. And as he's like going to Master Aemon, he's just like kind of noting all the like different.
No, he's going to Sam.
Yes, as he's going to Sam, he's like noting all the different like groups, I guess. But like, okay, so he mentions that there's 200 men, but doesn't the Night's Watch only have like 1,000 people?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is a mess.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. They're really banking everything on this trip.
Well, yeah, it's Mormont's call, and he really is.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So John's noting that people's spirits have dropped significantly since they have, been out in the wild.
Yeah.
And he pulls up to Sam, and Sam's been teaching the birds how to speak, and John's like, not enough more of them, enough.
Yeah. I mean, they saved your life, dude, so maybe you should.
That's true. Well, but these birds are just mimicking. That bird said burn. Just saying. So anyway, Sam's like, well, Sam's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, compared to all the rest of them, he's doing good.
Yeah.
And John's like, oh, the world is straight. The world is straight. Oh, gross. No, I don't want to live in a straight world. The world is strange.
Yes, there we go.
200 brave men had left the wall, and the only one who was not growing more fearful was Sam, the self-confessed coward.
Well, you know what? Maybe there's something to be said about accepting your fear to overcome it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to stop being like, oh my gosh, I'm so brave, I'm not scared. Because, maybe that's not effective, homie.
Yeah. Take a lesson.
Come on, people.
I don't know what to say to that.
No, I just...
Yeah, you're right.
These people...
But it's great, because Sam's doing great,
mostly. Well, he's doing okay. I wouldn't say he's doing great.
Yeah. Well, but,
comparatively.
I would have expected him to be doing much worse, but he is really pulling through.
Yeah. Good job, Sam.
Yay, Sam.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he's talking, and then he finally, gets back to more. He's like, okay, bye, Sam. And then he goes to...
They send off the raven.
Yeah. And then he goes to Mormont, and they're kind of talking, and he's like, yo, so Benjen probably, did what we're doing right now, and, came to the same conclusions that we're coming to. Mormont's like, yeah, and he probably, trekked deeper, so let's see what's going on. Yeah,
we will find whatever there is to find, or they will find us. And that's the end of that chapter. Yeah. Enough said.
Yeah.
We should, I guess, do predictions.
Yeah.
So now that they're kind of getting a sense of the situation, what's their plan gonna be?
I think... Okay, so they're trekking forward, and I feel like they might try to explore a couple more villages and just see if there's any hints coming on. And maybe in one of the villages they find something that's strange and they're like, oh my gosh. Or maybe they have to find something. Okay, they find something that's strange and then they're like, what's going on? And I feel like we're gonna I feel like we have to encounter, like, whites or something soon. Because, like, that white that we found before was so close, you know? Like, there's gotta be something.
Yeah.
That was so close. And, like, there's nothing here. Like, why would there be nothing here so close to the wall? Like, wouldn't this be...
crawling with...
Yeah, like, couldn't it be safer? But then at the same time, I was thinking, like, okay, so the free folk have, like been here for a while, so they, like, have their own routines. Like, what do they usually do during winter? Like, is that what they're, like, do they usually, like, go, like, hide somewhere? Or, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't, I'm just disoriented. I'm like, what do they normally do? Why are they not here?
Because all the stuff is gone.
Yeah.
So, like, they packed up and left. It's not quite like they were taken over by the undead and, like, you know, undead walked away.
Yeah, like, yeah, it definitely feels intentional.
So they packed up and left somewhere. Where do you think they went?
That's what I'm saying. Is, like, I don't know if they, like, have a place that they retreat to.
This seems unusual.
Yeah.
Like, the Night's Watch has seen winters in the Beyond the Wall before.
Yeah.
And this is something that, you know, they're like, just a year ago, this was a bustling village, and now they're all gone.
I have a question. Do you remember when we, like, talked to OSHA when they were like, when the bite, die, like that? Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah.
What were they saying? Because I remember they were, like, talking about, like, Mance Raider, I think his name is, and they were like, they said something about him. Like they were, like, talking about, like, his intentions or something. But I, like, don't know, like...
So, I think, like... or I actually don't want to say anything unless I know it.
Unless you know that they actually said it.
Hold on. Let me look it up real quick. Okay, I've found what they said about Mance. Okay. One of the... I think OSHA or somebody was like, oh, Bran is one of the Starks. Mm-hmm. Let's take him to Mance. Because, you know, Benj and Stark, they're enemies or whatever. Yeah. And the person was like, who cares about Mance Raider? If the White Walkers come from us, like, who cares who we have as hostage, you know? Right. And that's all I can find.
Right. And also the fact that because okay, wait. Because weren't they like, oh, why are the wildlings so far down north? They should be, like, beyond the wall.
Down south.
Or, sorry, yes. Yeah. Yes. Like, why are they so far? Okay, so right, because they were, so I guess, because that was only a couple months ago, technically, like, that event. Like, they found...
No, honey. This, like... The whole first book took, like, a year. Mm-hmm. Remember we talked about this?
And then there was, like, a year in between.
Joffrey's, like, birthdays kind of thing is, like, a time marker.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no, wait. So that was, like, 2 years ago. Or, like, a year and a half or something like that.
What? No. Which part?
That's, like, when they got OSHA.
Yeah, that was, I would say, like, 6 months ago. Somewhere between, like... Mm-hmm. Somewhere within a year.
Okay, yeah. So all of... Okay, that makes me think that at that point they were doing, like, all that, like, evacuation and, like, leaving the villages or whatever. Okay, so...
Oh, right. Okay, but that was, like, 7 people. That wasn't really...
Yeah, like, that could have been completely random.
Yeah, like, they could have just been on their own.
Yeah.
A village, like, they've come across several villages. Yeah. Like, 7 people doesn't account for all the villages.
Yeah, true.
Where did the rest of them?
Yeah, I'm not saying, like, saying, like, they all came south. I'm just saying, like, okay, so they were already, like, migrating at that... Or some people were already migrating at that point. But I guess it could just be random. Okay, so they're... I don't know, because... If they go...
They're hiding out. Is that your basic answer?
Yeah, they're hiding out, because, like...
And they're hiding from the White Walkers.
They're hiding from the White Walkers, yes.
Okay, cool. That's... Honestly, we've spent way too much on this already. Let's move on to Arya. Okay, so, go.
Okay,
They come upon the river.
Yes.
They've gone upriver.
And they're like, we're
and
not
they
crossing
find a
here.
body.
And then...
No, before even that. They find a body, and Lami's like, I told you that I could taste the bodies in the water, and it just made me be like, oh, gross.
Yeah, that was a little creepy. And then
Ugh.
Yoren's like, we're not crossing here. I'm gonna go upstream, check it out. You, buddy, go over there, check it out. Rest of y'all stay here. And they go check it out, and they come back, and
there's no ford. The one bridge has been broken.
There's, like, no way for them to cross.
So they can't cross the river. Yeah, all they can do is go north or something.
Yeah, because he's like, we can't go back the way we came. I was hoping we could go forward and, like, cross the river, but we can't do that, so we just gotta keep going along the side and get to this, like, one...
Right. So I think the place they're at is... They were at the... God. I need a map. Where are the maps? Oh, shit, this book doesn't have a map. Why doesn't the illustrated version have a map? That makes no goddamn sense.
It really doesn't.
It's like the opposite of what you would expect. Okay, so here's the God's Eye, okay? Yeah. I don't know how you see me.
No, I understand what you're saying. I, like, kind of drew it out, too.
This is the King's Road. It goes like this. Yeah. So they were here. Yeah. So they were going to go like this. Yeah. But right here is a river that they can't cross. Yeah. So all they can do is go here and hope to sail across the lake. Yeah. And that's what's happening. And to anybody who obviously wasn't here, can't see that. Oh my. Look at a map, you know? Yeah. I don't know what to say.
Pick up a book, look at a map.
Yeah, they can't go back east or south because that's the King's Road or whatever. Yeah. They can't cross over the river to the west, so they can only go north. Yeah. Their directions.
Yeah, and they're thinking, like, okay, right before we, like, on our side of the God's Eye, there's a holdfast. We're gonna chill there, get a boat there, and then we're gonna go, and then we're gonna end up at Harrenhal, and that'll be great because that's Lady Went's seat.
Mm-hmm. And we know that the Lannisters have taken that over a long time ago.
They don't.
Are not up to date.
Yeah, these people know nothing.
They ain't checking their Twitter.
They really aren't. And they're like, okay, great plan. Like, let's do this. And then she's kind of like, she's like, okay, that'll be great. Like, I'll, like, confess who I am to Lady Went, and, like, she'll help me out.
Wait, yeah. And we hear again about, like, the ghosts in Harrenhal. Yeah. It's a cursed place.
Yeah, it's like everything in this kingdom is cursed.
It keeps showing up.
Like, what do you mean Harrenhal is cursed? Like, you're cursed.
Yeah. And, yeah, so you were saying that Arya's like, oh, I'll tell Lady Went who I am, and she'll, take me home, and some of her knights will take care of me, because that's what knights do, keep you safe. And I'm like, wait, did I just transport into a Sansa chapter from Game of Thrones? What?
This felt like, what? Did you not just see, like, every single,
we've never seen this sentiment from Arya before.
And she's never had a positive encounter with, like, she hasn't had a lot of encounters with knights, but all the ones she's had have been awful.
Yeah, it's like George made a mistake, but later he kind of tries to make a point of, like, when Sir Armory Lord shows up with his, gangsters, Arya's like, oh, I forgot. That's not what knights are. This is what knights are. Like, she kind of has that moment of reflection then. But there's, like, no reason. The fact that she even thought it in the first place is odd.
Yeah, this felt weird. Yeah, but, yeah. So then they go travel,
noted.
Yeah. They go, travel, they call it the river track. So they're going there, and they're rolling their wagons, and they're passing, houses. They pass a forester's cabin. They pass a bunch of fields. And this is very, this is in contrast to Arya's previous chapter, where every place that they're passing has all these people who are trying to stop them from taking whatever they can. And in this chapter, there's, no one
this
here.
This is, people have just left.
Yeah, people.
And she's like, why are we going to a place where people have left? We shouldn't be here. Everybody else left. We should also leave.
Logical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And So they arrive in this village, abandoned, like we said. And it looks like people left in a hurry because like stuff is still around, except the boats are gone.
Yeah.
So Arya and some of the folks are, go look for boats, and all they can find is like this one kind of already rotten rowboat or something. And Gendry's like, "Oh, let's build a raft and pole across the lake." And Yoren is like, that might not work, but maybe if we like stuck close to the edge, I don't know. We'll see. We'll sleep on it." Little do they know, they will never get to sleep on it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And Arya's like, "No, this place is terrible. Let's go." And Yoren has his whole, the Night's Watch takes no part, so no man's our enemy.
Yeah, clearly.
And Arya is like, "And no man's our friend."
Yep.
This 9-year or 10, maybe she is now, 10-year-old is thinking.
Yeah. And so they're like, "You know what, it's fine. We'll just let's just take some safety precautions and we'll be good." So they have like a secret tunnel that they can go down that takes them back to the lake. So they like kind of put something on that.
Cover it up so that nobody can enter through it. Yeah, so they hole up in the holdfast.
Yeah.
Cover up all the
entrances.
Yeah. And, kind of settle in.
Yeah.
They eat a chicken. I don't know.
Yeah. And Arya kind of has to watch for a bit, and like Hot Pie tries to talk to her, and she's like, "Don't talk to me."
Well, so Hot Pie is like, "Where'd you get that sword?" And she's like, "Oh, my brother gave it to me." And like she kind of like slips up for a moment, and then to make up for it, she's like, "Oh yeah, they're big and they got swords and they taught me how to kill people." And Hot Pie's like, "I was just trying to make conversation. Calm down."
Yeah. She's like, "Nope, I'm not having it." And then she, goes to sleep, and she wakes up to a dream of a wolf howling. Fun little warning for her, telling her that shit's going to hell. Shit's going to hell.
She hears a wolf howling, wakes up, and tries to wake everybody else up. And they're like, "What? There is nothing.
Yeah.
If it's wolves, they'll go away. Like, they're not going to cross the walls."
And then within seconds, we get the danger call. Yeah. And
people are here, and they're burning the empty village.
Yeah.
Because got no respect for resources.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just terrible.
Yeah.
And they like all gear up into action, and everybody's like at the gates, and they climb up the wall, and they're looking down, and people are like, "Open the gate, open the gate." Like the evil people that show up are like, "Open the gate." You talk.
Yeah, so they're like, "Open the gate." And at this point, Yorn's trying to like use his logic and be like, "You see my cloak? Night's Watch. You don't need to kill me." And they're like, no, open the gates.
Like, it's night. It's all black. How do we know that's not the black of Beric Dondarrion's house?
Yeah. And it's just, they're like, no. And then Yorn's like, "You know what? No, I'm not having this." And they're like, "Kate, well, we're burning you down." And then Waff gets, that's his name. Yeah, Waff. That feels weird. Anyway, Waff gets a spear and he dies. And then, it kind of, it erupts, and this whole
fighting, people climbing over the walls, everybody shouting.
Yeah.
Arya takes up her needle, and, Hot Pie's got a sword. Everybody's like just jabbing at people. And she starts yelling Winterfell, which I'm like,
I know.
What are you doing?
I know. This gave me so much stress. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, but I think she says something that I enjoyed. I didn't enjoy it. I just liked how it was phrased. She doesn't say this. But anyway, So Martin writes, "Everything smelled of blood and smoke and iron and piss. But after a time, it seemed like that was only one smell." And I was like, this is just
it all just mixes together into grossness.
Which is this entire situation. So that's what they spent their, Thursday night doing. I don't know why it's a Thursday.
Okay, hold on. Wait. We missed one kind of major point. So Armory Lorch, the dude in charge of the raiding party is like, oh, if you're just the... Sorry, there's this whole conversation where Yoren's like, hey, we're the Night's Watch, just leave us alone, you know? And he's like, I'm not convinced, let me come take a look. And Yoren's like, I think not. And and then Yoren refuses to open the door, and then they start breaking in. So there's this kind of like, oh, would they have left him alone if they just, you know, showed who they were? Now, here's one for you, Brian. When I was a sweet summer child, I thought maybe that was worth a try. But now I'm like, no, it would have just gone the same way. Like,
exactly.
They're not here to make friends. They don't care if you're from the Night's Watch. Yeah. They're from...
Like, they're literally burning an empty village. That tells you something. Like, it's not like they're here and they're like, okay, we gotta, like, burn all these people, you know, which is, you know, obviously very awful, but like this is completely pointless. The only point of it is like chaos and destruction, and you being here isn't gonna make a difference. And like in this,
I wonder if they would have like instead taken everybody hostage instead of just killing everyone.
Yeah, but none of them.
I mean, that's not a great.
But they all don't look like, none of them look useful. You know what I mean? Like, no offense, but, like, these are all, like, orphans and people. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't...
Yeah, but what if they recognize, like, Gendry? Because, you know, the City Watch came looking for him.
Yeah, but it's, like, dark and stuff. I feel like it would be fine.
I guess?
I don't know. I just don't think, like... Yeah, the City Watch came looking for them, but I feel like this isn't... Like... I don't think Joffrey sent these people. I think Tywin sent these people, and I think there's a disconnect between.
Yeah,
you know,
this is the whole like Tywin has this like, oh, if we can't have that land, we're gonna burn it down. Kind
exactly.
Of thing. He just sent like these raiding parties to burn it all down. So you're right. Like there was no hope for anything. Yeah. Everybody would have still died.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate. At least the people left, though.
Yeah. Well, some of them. Arya is fighting. Everybody's fighting. Mm-hmm. They're killing people. Mm-hmm. Arya's, like, killing people and like, for real. Mm-hmm. She killed that one dude. Kind of, like, not really meaning to, but just it happened. Yeah. But she's like, oh, go to hell. Here's for Winterfell.
That rhymes perfectly. Wow. And then she kind of gets to where Yoren is, and he's like, y'all gotta get out of here. Like, there's no hope. Because now they've, like, initially they were, like, trying to protect the walls, but then, like, somewhere in the wall there was a break, and now everybody's just able to come in.
Yeah, somebody broke through, and now they're just fighting on the ground.
And he's like, you guys need to leave, or else we're all dying. So then she kind of gathers up, like, she goes to Gendry, she gets to Hot Pie, they get to Lamy, she gets to the crying girl, and she's like...
She's dragging the crying girl across the yard because she won't, like, walk.
Yeah.
And the barn is on fire, and they're... You know, that's where the trapdoor is. They get there, and Gendry, like, takes over and carries the crying girl. And as they're going there...
Excuse me.
They pass the wagon full of the, you know, the mean guys.
Our 3 lovely prisoners. Very charming.
Yeah. And, also, since the barn is on fire, all the horses and the donkeys are scared and crying.
And I'm so bad.
Like, and Arya's like, oh, the poor animals. And I was like, for real, though. Yeah. Like, people suck.
I know. It's such a mess. And so Arya's
in
like...
the cage, the people are yelling, you know, Jaqen Hagar's like, hey, dude, help. But then the other dude, Rorge, is just like, oh, get these fucking chains off of me. And it, like, that makes me not want to help ever. And Arya, but, like, she stops for a second, is like, oh my God. I don't know why, but I gotta do this. And she goes and gets an axe.
She has a Ned moment.
Yeah, she has to, like, crawl back into the burning barn, and she tosses the axe into the cage, and like that's the best she can do. Like she's not going to be able to break it for them, but they seem to like there's a crack.
Yeah, they did it.
So something happened.
Yeah. And then she kind of drops into the tunnel, and like she's crawling, and then she kind of, it says like she gets 12 feet down, and then she just breaks. She's just
there's
crying.
like, but also there's like an explosion right behind her. Because the barn probably went down. So
just in time.
Yeah, and then she's like, oh my god, I can't believe it.
Yeah, and she's just crying, and she says, Arya held her breath and kissed the mud on the floor of the tunnel and cried. For who? She could not say. And I was like, Arya.
Yeah.
I feel so bad.
Because, like, let's see who got out through that tunnel. Arya, Hapai, Lami, Gendry, and that crying girl. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
That's all. And then they found a couple other people, but they were, like, lying on the ground, so they couldn't, like, obviously, like, drag them to the barn or anything.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
So, everybody else is probably dead.
Yeah.
Like, Yoren's dead.
They all
all
dead.
the dudes are dead. Or do you think the people in the wagon are dead? Like, say they escape the wagon. What then? Like, they're probably still gonna get killed.
Right, because none of them... Yeah, because the explosion...
Or the raiding Lannisters.
Yes, the Lannisters too, but like they hadn't made it to the barn yet. So they still had like
maybe
a couple seconds or like whatever the time was. Yeah.
Okay, so you think they all died, all three of them?
I want to say they're still alive though. Like I feel like we've seen them too much for them to just like be dead. But like how would they be alive?
So yeah, like well did they sneak out of the barn and like away from the fighting somehow? Was there another trapdoor?
Maybe they are dead, because I have no rationale for them not being dead, but it just feels weird that they died. Like, it feels weird that she just, like, freed them and now they're dead.
That would be weird. But maybe that was more to show us that, like, Arya is still a good person, as opposed to...
Yeah, but I don't know. It just... I think they're still alive. I'm just suspicious of them being dead.
Okay. Is anyone gonna put the yelling Winterfell together and figure out who Arya is?
I mean, they're all dead, so... And the people who actually made it with her, I don't think so. They don't know anything. They know... Like, they're not updated on the news.
All right. Is Yoren dead?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Okay. So what are they gonna do now? They're on their own.
Man, I don't even know. Cause like, okay. So I'm thinking like, I remember like, cause, they don't check their Twitter, so they still think it's that lady. But like, Arya...
But they still don't have a way to get across the lake, though.
I was just thinking, because now there's only like 5 of them, could they use that raft thing that they wanted to use earlier, where they were like, oh, it only has like 5 spaces? You know? Because this is going to take them to beside the lake. So then they could like...
That's
chill.
True. So they're going to take that... They're going to fix up that raggedy-ass boat, and...
I think... They could. I think they'll want to because, with the whole lady thing, I think Arya was like, okay, yeah, let's go to Harrenhal, and then I can, like, because...
Lady
went, yes.
Because Lady was...
Right, yes.
So let's be a little specific here.
But, like, at the same time, it's like... See, because here's what I think. So, obviously, like, King's Road, fighting, die, bad... But, like, Arya has actually been on the King's Road for, like, a few months. You know what I mean? So at least she, like, has somewhat of a conception of the King's Road. Because, like, she would go exploring on her own, So at least she, like, understands what's going on. But at the same time, it's, like, no matter where they go, like, someone's gonna find them.
Okay, so they're gonna go back...
No, they're not. No, they're not. That's like me giving Arya advice. Like, oh, maybe you could go to the King's Road. But like at the same time, that's bad advice because all advice in this situation is bad.
Okay, but what are they
They're
going to
go to
do?
Harrenhal.
I don't
They're going to try to go to Harrenhal.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yes.
And it's going to end terribly because...
Yeah.
Yeah, doy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also,
I'm
thinking, like, Wait, what's her name? Nymeria. Is Nymeria, like, hanging out? Like, was that wolf noise, like, Nymeria warning Arya?
You tell
I think it was. I'd like to think that's what it was. And, like, they're near the God's Eye, so that, like, logically works out.
I guess.
I think it does.
I mean, it does, but I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Well...
Also, you know what's weird? Sorry, I just have a lot of random thoughts about this chapter.
Okay, tell me
so
quickly.
What's weird is, like, okay, I understand Jon always thinking about Arya, because it's, like, Arya was the only one that, like, well, he connected with Robb, but, like, that was kind of a little bit of a feud. I understand him, like, thinking about Arya a lot, but, like, this was, like, Arya's family. Like, she doesn't even think about, like, I get her not wanting to think about her dad, because he's dead, but, like, she thinks about Jon more than she thinks about her mom. That just says something, like, about their, like, relationship, I guess.
Yeah, well, her and Jon were, like, really close.
Yeah,
they were
tight.
You know, best buds, so.
They were tight.
Can I tell you something?
Yes?
It's not a spoiler.
Oh, okay.
Because it didn't happen. But there's this letter that George R. R. Martin wrote to, like, his editor way before the book was ever published of his, like, ideas for the story for, like, the first book.
Yeah.
And he was going to create a romance between Jon and Arya.
No, he wasn't.
I think that was, like, that was the incest that was going to be the thing.
Dude.
Somehow.
But then it became Cersei and Jaime, so then he...
Maybe, but like that's one of his ideas from like way back when.
So
but like,
at least
thankfully it's like this, you know, sibling relationship.
Every single close relationship does not need to be a relationship. Like, does not need to be a romantic relationship.
I know, but I'm just telling you, like, when you read,
oh my gosh,
I don't know.
Dude,
it's because like every time they mention each other.
Which book did he?
Like the first book, like before he wrote the first book, that was going to be. He didn't have the storyline yet.
Oh my gosh!
Like he was figuring things out, you know.
Right. And that was,
but
interesting, very interesting.
So every time like the Jon Arya thing comes up of them missing each other, I am so horribly reminded of that letter.
Oh my gosh!
And I don't think like in the books that's actually what's you know the thing. But it
reminds you. It's not a great association.
Because that was like his first, his first intention.
Yeah, that's, ugh.
Yeah.
Man.
I can't wait to like actually talk about that letter once we're like through some shit. And, you know, we can.
Yeah, why do you like have a letter from him to his editor?
I don't know, but like, this.
How
this is like public.
No, but like, why is it public? A letter between...
I don't know. Somebody shared it. Somehow it got leaked. I don't know. It's out there, okay?
Okay. All right.
I don't know these things. I only know that they exist.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Tyrion.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Okay. So they're...
And be quick about it. I am very
Sounds
sleepy.
good. So they're like kind of having a council meeting and like Cersei's not in a good mood because that they just got, you know, that letter that
Stannis' letter.
So then Cersei's like,
she's so outraged that he would ever propose that she had sex with her brother and her children are born of incest and what's the other word? Adultery. I forgot the word.
Yeah, she's like, wow, he's accusing me of things I've done. How awful.
Yeah, and Tyrion's like, it was astonishing to see how angry Cersei could wax over accusations she knew perfectly well to be true.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, oh, if we lose this war, you gotta take up acting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was funny. And
have you ever been really outraged when somebody called you out on a lie and were like...
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
I totally get where she's coming from, but it's just funny how Tyrion perceives it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, like I don't think any of your lies have ever been this serious, you know? But like,
yeah, I know.
I get real.
I know.
I'm like, how dare you?
I know. It's very relatable. But like at the same time, this lie is just so like, it's affected the book in so many ways that it's like, you're getting called out on your bullshit.
Yeah, and everybody in this room knows that it's
that's
true.
Why it's so funny.
So, like...
And I love, like, all of them being like, when Tyrion's like, oh, yeah, like, I know that's not true, but, like, you know, he just needed something to say. And then Littlefinger's like, yeah, I know it's not true, but, like, just let him say it. And then Pycelle's like, yeah, I know it's not true. And I'm like, y'all are lying through your teeth. Y'all are just...
Yeah. And... So, yeah, they're reading the letter, obviously. They are not happy with it. And Tyrion's like, hold on, there was also one more thing. Done in the light of the Lord? Like, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
And Pycelle explains, like,
it's another
Stannis was taken up with the Red God.
This was so weird, because Littlefinger knows... Like, Littlefinger becomes, like, the Varys in this situation, which was very weird to me. Like, he knows all of...
What does Littlefinger know?
Littlefinger knows all these really specific things. Like, he's like, oh yeah, like Varys
what?
told us years ago that Lady Selyse had taken out...
Yeah, Varys told them.
Like, years ago. Why do you remember that? That's such a random detail. And then he also says, like... What else does he say? He says,
Don't you think he keeps track of all the info he gets, like, so that he could use it to his advantage somehow?
But, like, I just, like... I know, like, you know, he's very, like, clever in this way, I guess. But, like, it's just, like, I don't know. It's just, as somebody who has a terrible memory, just him knowing all these random things was weird to me. But, yeah, so they're, like, talking about this, and, Tyrion's like, you know what? Let's use that. Like, he's, like, switched religions. Mm-hmm. Let's, like, turn that against him. And the queen's like, no, we need to stop the rumors. We need to stop people from talking about this and, like, punish them if they do
Rip people's tongues out.
And Pycelle's like, yeah, we should totally do that. I agree with her, because he just agrees with everything she says. And then Tyrion and Littlefinger are like, let's be a little bit more strategic. Like, oh, Tyrion's like...
Tyrion's like, if we do that, everybody's gonna be like, it's gonna lend credence to the story.
Yeah, exactly. And Littlefinger's like, let's do the same thing to him. Let's fight fire with fire.
Yeah, like, instead of just not acknowledging it, not just that, but also put out a rumor of our own to take over.
Yeah, exactly. And ours will...
And Tyrion's like, oh my god, you're so smart, I hate it.
He's like, I don't trust you.
Yeah. And he's like, let's make up a story about Stannis' daughter. And Cersei's like, oh, she has 2 brothers and a father and an uncle. And like, because she's so used to, like, the incestuous thing. That's, like, the people she
associates with. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and like, she doesn't think, like, adultery can be committed with anyone. It doesn't have to be your sibling.
Yeah. But to her, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah. But yeah, so then they're kind of, like, talking it through, and then Littlefinger's like, you know, okay, yeah, these details too, like, he knows these very, like, he remembers all these very specific things, like, he's, you know what I mean? You know what I'm referring to?
Yeah, but, like, what else? That's, like, what else is he doing?
That's true, yeah.
But remembering these random
like,
things.
That's true, yeah, okay. So, he's like, you know what, let's say, like, Patchface and Lady Selyse.
Because he has a tattoo, and Shireen, the Stannis' daughter, has grayscale, so, like, obviously same thing. Because it's just like sensational enough that people will, like, buy into it. You know?
Definitely. And they gotta stand out.
Yeah. And he's like, you know, all lies contained within them some nuggets of truth, and all good lies, rather, all the best lies. And as we kind of know, Patchface follows Shireen around, like, they're best buds. Like, this is a thing for sure.
Yeah. And then Tyrion and Littlefinger kind of have this, like, ooh, I don't trust you, ooh, interaction, and then...
Yeah.
And then they're kind of like, okay, Littlefinger's like, okay, I'll plant this idea using my brothels. That'll be like how this gossip gets around. And they're like, great. This is a plan, we got it. And they're like, where's Varys? You know, like, what's going on? He's not at our council meeting. Like, you know?
Yeah, and Tyrion's like, oh, he's attending to some of my business. And Cersei's like, King's business? Shouldn't you tell me about that? And Tyrion's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm just having a little gift made for Joffrey. A little chain.
A little chain. Little.
So... let's talk about this chain, but in a minute. So they, leave. Bronn's waiting for him. And, they're like, oh, there's some people waiting for you in your audience hall or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's this moment where Tyrion hears Lady Tanda calling to him. And he, pretending not to notice her, he walked a bit faster. Why do you think he's ignoring her? What do you think that's about?
I don't even know who that is.
Okay, Lady Tanda. I guess I'm gonna give away what the deal is, but in the last book, Littlefinger was coming to see Ned, and then he was like, "Oh, I gotta hurry because Lady Tanda has invited me over for dinner because she wants me to marry her daughter."
Oh my god! Wait, he wants Littlefinger to marry her daughter?
Yeah, that was what was happening last book.
Oh,
and I think she wants Tyrion to marry her daughter.
Oh my gosh!
This book,
and
that's why Tyrion's avoiding her.
That's funny. Oh my gosh! Love that.
Yeah, so he returns to his chambers, changes his squire. Pod is there. Podrick. Remember him? We saw him once last book.
Yeah.
Oh, and he puts on the chain, the hands chain, he calls it. And it's a chain that's hands clasping each other, but that's the chain.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? It's so over the top.
It's a little tacky, I will admit. It's a little what? Why can't we just we all know you're the hand of the king. We don't need an ID tag. Yeah, it's interesting.
Anyway, so he gets all decked up. Is that? I
think so. Yeah.
Decked out.
Yeah.
Decked out, isn't that the word? And he meets with all these armorers in his audience chamber, and is like, "Hey, I want you to make this." And he flips open a bag, and it's these huge links of chain. And everybody's like, what?
Everybody's like, I can make stuff much more complicated than this. Let me make you a coat of armor.
Yeah, with a demon's head helmet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, but Cersei, told us to make armor and swords and all of that. Why would we stop that? We have a war coming. And Tyrion's like, nope, stop all that. Make me these links. And he threatens them. Cersei had said that they would what was it? Their hands would be chopped off if they didn't meet the quotas or something. And he's just he puts it very elegantly. You will make chains or you will wear them. The choice is yours. Yeah. And that's that. Okay, let's talk about this chain before we move on. What do you think this is about? This is no little chain.
Yeah, this, I'm okay, what are Tyrion's priorities here? I'm okay, the city's weak, they need to, strengthen the city. That's why Cersei's doing all these things. And Tyrion comes in, and, Tyrion is a very logical, intelligent person.
He's gonna, rope it all around the city and put a big lock on the door.
No, but, that's what I'm saying is, the chains feel useless, but, I feel he's not stupid. He's using them for something. I don't think it's a gift for Joffrey. I think okay. It's, I don't know how, but I think somehow it's supposed to, be for, protection / fighting. How? No idea. Because, I just don't know, what are you using these, like, chain link thingies for? Like, what?
But, like, any ideas? So it's not roping it around the whole city walls and then putting a lock on it.
I don't think so.
It's not weighing your enemies down with a heavy-ass chain, is it?
I mean, I have no idea. I literally have no idea. This makes no sense to me.
Oh, I know. He's gonna get, like, 2 really strong soldiers, and when the other armies, like, attacking them, they're gonna, like, spread out, like, in front of the gates really far away and trip everybody on the big-ass chain. Right? That's it.
Yeah, of course it is. That makes so much sense. I sat there for, like, 10 minutes trying to think about this. I came up with nothing. I have no idea. This makes no sense to me. At first I was like, oh, it's like a prank. Like, when he first mentioned, like, oh, I'm making a chain for Joffrey. But then when he, like...
But then he's actually
No. And then when he was like, no, stop the protection. Stop, like, making everything else. I was like, wait, I don't think this is a prank anymore. I have no idea. I don't know if I'm, like, being stupid, but, like, I swear, this makes no sense.
So great. I love it.
Like, what are you gonna do with, like, fucking steel chain? Like, what? How is that useful? Okay,
He's gonna tie Joffrey to the throne so nobody else can take it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, what are Tyrion's motives? Okay, he needs to keep the city protected. He needs to figure out how to get Jaime back. He needs to do his normal duties and, like, advise the king, but I don't think he wants to do that one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how does this serve you?
He's gonna lasso the chain all the way to River Run and get Jaime. Like, that way.
Yeah, that's
He's
the
gonna
one.
drag
That's
him
the
across.
one. You're so right. That's it. Why couldn't I think of that? Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
You're not supposed to, so it's
okay,
great.
Good.
Okay, all right. No idea. That's your answer. I gave you so many options and you didn't like any of them.
Why don't you give me the real option? I'll probably like that one because it'll make sense.
I don't know. I feel like tying Joffrey to the throne is a pretty great idea.
I love that idea.
Keep that tyrant trapped.
I love that idea. I just think it's too good of a thing to happen in this book.
Okay. All right, so
then he's kind of like
Tyrion leaves.
He's like leaving, and he kind of mentions like all the stuff he's done to kind of like help the city. And he's like, yeah, like I put like they're building like fishing boats, like we're opening the Kingswood so people can hunt if they're brave enough to do that, and like people are foraging to get food, and I'm like, wow, he's actually doing stuff.
Yeah. Yet still, he saw accusing eyes everywhere he rode. Yeah. So his PR team is not doing their job.
Yeah.
Like, they need to, up their game.
Yeah.
So, blah, blah, blah.
And they're going to a brothel.
And he wonders...
Oh, yeah.
He's on the way. He's, like, thinking about Stannis's letter. And he's like, oh, I wonder what Renly will make of that.
Renly ain't gonna be too happy about that, buddy.
Yeah. Do you think he's gonna do anything?
I don't think so. I think he'll just stick with his... I don't think he'll think Stannis is, like... I think he'll be like, nah, it'll be fine. Let me just proceed with my plan. You know?
Ignore and continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So he rides and he arrives at this brothel, Chataya's brothel, which is the same brothel that Ned visited with Littlefinger. Because Chataya, like, I think Varys later mentions that Chataya has no love for the queen after that baby and his mom were killed. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not really giving me anything.
Yeah. I remember that.
So, and then, who was it? Tyrion's like, oh, this is a great brothel, Bronn. Fit for a king, I'm told. And Bronn's like, oh, Joffrey? And Tyrion's like, no, but maybe. Like, he starts thinking along the lines of, like, maybe I should get Joffrey to visit this brothel. What do you think about that idea.
Is he, like, trying to, like, distract Joffrey so he doesn't fuck more things up? You know?
Maybe.
But, like...
But do you think Joffrey is interested?
I have no idea. Maybe. Or maybe he's, like... Well, no. Yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like he's just like, Joffrey needs to get out of my way, so let's distract him.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so he arrives at the brothel. He's like, hey, y'all can stay, or if you can't afford, like, go find another brothel. Have fun. I'm gonna go in. And he does. And he meets Chataya, who's this beautiful, tall, black woman. I was gonna say
you're...
I was like, what? No.
Yeah.
Ew. Not you, but, like, kind of. But no. No!
Oh my gosh!
Kidding. No, I did not mean any of that. I'm so sorry. But, like, I have a very particular image of Chataya in my head, and then imagining her with blonde hair.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes no sense in my brain.
Makes sense,
You know?
I got you.
And, you know, she's like, oh, Lord Tyrion, and he's like, oh, let's not talk about names. And then she's like, Lord Hand, and he's like, let's not talk about titles either. And, you know, she's introducing him. He's like, she's pointing out all the available girls and everything. And she points out one girl who's about 16 is also black, and she's like, oh yeah, she's my daughter. And Tyrion's like, oh, your daughter also works at your brothel? And she's like, well, yeah, it's a great job. And it's a way, you know, back on the Summer Isles where I'm from, it's people serve in brothels as a way to honor the gods.
Yeah. It's not seen as like, this like
awful
that? Thing.
Yeah.
Tyrion's like, ooh, I want to be religious there.
Yeah, well, she gives this awesome explanation, which is, the gods made our bodies as well as our souls, is it not so? They gave us voices so we might worship them with song. They give us hands so we might build them temples, and they give us desire so we might mate and worship them in that way. And I'm kind of like all for the sex positivity.
Out of all the religions we've had so far, this one I'm like, okay,
this one, yeah.
It, like,
yeah, let's have sex and worship the gods.
Because all the other religions are just being weaponized, but this one is like, yeah, this is like making you a better person.
Just be you.
You're like more accepting of things. Go for it. Do it.
Yeah, I love this. And
yeah, so then
all of that. She gets her daughter, Arya.
Okay, cool.
Arya, maybe like you maybe Arya. Yeah, because there's an A in there.
Yeah, so then Arya comes and they go to a room.
Yeah, she leads him like all the way upstairs to like the tower room or something, and he's like, you're beautiful, but your tongue is the part that interests me most. And she's like, you'll find my tongue well schooled. I know when to use it and when not. And then she like points to a cupboard, and Tyrion opens it, and we find that there's a false back, and there's this whole like tunnel that leads to some stable like far away, like 3 blocks away. Like, that's some serious shit.
And we see Varys.
And, yeah, dressed in his, gruffy uniform, looking and smelling totally different.
Yeah.
And Tyrion's like, oh, you should come like this to the castle.
Yeah, he's very thorough in his transformations.
Yeah. So also we learn that this particular tunnel was dug for another king's hand, whose honor would not allow him to enter such a house openly. Any ideas who that might be?
Like, maybe like Aaron?
Jon Arryn, you think he visited brothels?
But from what we know of him, he wasn't like interested in brothels.
Here's my thing. Ned learned to be Ned from Jon Arryn.
Mm-hmm. That's true, yeah. And he wasn't like... I feel like it's Jon Arryn.
So Jon Arryn was secretly going to brothels. Okay.
Who was the hand before Jon Arryn?
Oh, there were a few that the Mad King had.
Right. Because I'm just thinking,
but they were all like only hands for like a few months at a time. I don't know if that's enough time to dig a tunnel.
Yeah.
I mean, before them, Tywin Lannister was the Mad King's hand.
Oh, he was! Yeah! Oh my gosh, I forgot that he was. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That's the one that, like, logically checks out.
So you think it was him? I think so
that
too.
makes the most sense. Sorry, I, like, forgot.
I was just hoping you would remember.
Sorry, I don't remember things, we know this. Oh, yeah, because Jaime has been in the Kingsguard for a long time, and Tywin was the hand.
Yeah, he quit being hand because Jaime became... Maybe I told you something I shouldn't have, but okay.
Yeah, I did not know that. I didn't know he quit.
Oh, we knew he quit.
Did we?
Because remember, the whole thing was like Tywin wouldn't take a side during the war.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end, he showed up at the city.
Right.
At like King's Landing. And the Mad King opened the door, and then Tywin, like, totally turned on him.
Right.
So, like, we knew.
Oh, okay, right. We just hadn't explicitly been like, he quit. We were like, homie just didn't do anything.
Well, yeah, it's, like, a lot more complicated.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Let's not get into that. But basic thing is, like, we think that Tywin visited this brothel and had this tunnel made because he's so all hoity-toity about his...
Of course he did.
Thing.
He's... Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's so mad at Tyrion for, you know, indulging in sex. Mm-hmm. It's like...
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, hypocrisy. Moving on.
These people have no sense of self-reflection. Anyway... So there's a mule.
So
there's
Varys gets him a little,
and they're like hanging out.
Sad-looking horse. Tyrion puts on a cloak so that people will think it's like some little kid, so they don't know it's him. And we find out that he's got Shay holed up in a manse somewhere, and he's gonna visit her. Before he actually, hold on. He asks Varys, he tells Varys that about Stannis' letter, and is like, I wonder how Stannis came about that suspicion. And then Varys is like, oh, maybe he read a book and looked at the color of a bastard's hair. Because, you know, we know that's what Ned did and Jon Arryn did. Or perhaps someone whispered it in his ear. And he implies that it might be Littlefinger. But then he's also like, oh, I didn't name names. Besides, the bastards were there for all to see. So,
but here's the thing. I get that he's, like, implying that it's Littlefinger, but, like, Littlefinger, like, when Ned and Littlefinger were having that conversation before he betrayed him, he was like, dude, you want Stannis to be king? Like, Littlefinger didn't...
So why would Littlefinger tell Stannis? I think it is very unlikely that Littlefinger told Stannis. I think he was buds with Jon Arryn.
Yeah,
so...
that's what I've assumed. I think I've even said that before. But then they just made me doubt myself. I was like, wait, why did I assume that? And I feel like...
And Tyrion's like, even if she had...
Yeah, like, I feel like... They went through enough of the mystery together before Jon Arryn died that it would be like, okay, yeah, we figured this thing out, and then Jon Arryn died.
It's easy to pick it. Yeah, put it together. Yeah. And Tyrion's just like, oh, if only Cersei had one kid that looked like Robert.
But then she wouldn't be Cersei.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then he gets on his horse and is like, "Hey, Varys, sometimes I think you're my best bud, but sometimes I feel like you're my best worst enemy." And Varys is like, "Oh, interesting. I think quite the same of you."
Yeah, exactly.
And that's that. I think that's all. Right? That's this chapter. Yeah. So you don't know what's going on with the chain?
I have no idea. All I can... It's some sort of protective measure, because he's getting rid of all of the other protective measures for this thing, so I'd hope that this would serve them in some way.
It's some prep for war.
Yeah, I would hope.
Okay. Do you think their, new gossip will work, and will people forget about this accusation?
I think so. I think the accusation wasn't going to be effective in the first place. Like, it was just one of those, like, it just didn't, it wouldn't have, most people would, there would be a group of people that wouldn't want to believe it, and they wouldn't believe it. There'd be a group of people that would be like, yeah, like, I don't like Cersei, but, like, this doesn't really make sense. And then, like, maybe there would be, like, a very, very small group of people that would be like, maybe, but it's not like they would do anything about it. It would be such a small group of people. And, like, at the same time, it's, like...
Small group of influential people, like lords or... regular people.
The influential people are all, like, they're all on a side already. I don't think this is gonna swing any of them.
Okay, so it'll be, like, regular people and they don't have no power,
exactly.
So, like, what does it matter?
The influential people already got their sides. They know what they're rooting for.
Alright, how will Stannis react to this new accusation?
Oh, he's mad. He's coming in hot.
And doing what?
What did I say he was doing? I think like Melisandre will be like, no, let's wait and, like, do this plan, and Stannis will be like, no, we march today. I'm mad.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
Yeah, Stannis doesn't feel like a guy who can control his temper, because he's gonna be like, this is so wrong. This never happened. It could also, like, create a rift between, like, him and his wife, but, like, their relationship is functional anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
But, like, he knows it's not true. Like, he knows this is, like, a way for
I know, but, like, it would still be, like, a getting your anger out at someone type thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Of course, blame the woman.
Yes. In this world, yes. When in Westeros, women get blamed.
So, is anybody going to find out about Tyrion's little secret of this tunnel and Chataya's and all that?
Not anybody who doesn't already know, like, that this tunnel exists.
Okay, so Shay and all that is going to remain a secret.
Right now, yeah.
Like, he hasn't even told his guards.
Yeah.
The only person that knows is Varys. That's a lot of power that Varys has.
Yeah, definitely. But, he's his best bud.
And his worst enemy.
Yeah, I'm choosing to focus on the good side of that.
All right. I can't think of a single other thing.
I think we're good.
Okay. I am... Yeah, there's nothing else. I'm gonna move on. Let's do... Next chapters. So, we're reading 3, 16, 17, and 18. Oh, soon we'll be in the 20s. In the new year, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, give me your predictions, hopes, whatever.
We haven't seen Catelyn in a while. I wanna meet Renly, so I hope we get Catelyn. And then...
Oh, right, because... Okay.
I want to meet, like, I guess we've been introduced to 2 new characters lately. It would be nice if we got a third one. It would be nice to have 3 new characters this book. So I'm hoping for a second new person. And then Sansa. We haven't seen Sansa in a long, long while.
All right. So no new people. No Catelyn. But there is a Sansa. We'll get to that. Okay, so first off, chapter 16 is Bran.
Ooh, Bran the Man. Wait, have we seen Bran this book?
Yes.
What was Bran doing?
We met the
phrase.
Walder
the phrase. Yes.
And he was having his, like, dream. I can't remember what the dream was, though. Oh, he was dreaming that he was a wolf.
Oh, that was this book. Oh my gosh, yeah. It was. Yeah,
Yeah, that's basically all that happened.
Yeah, I think we'll just get more updates. Oh, wasn't someone gonna attack Winterfell?
I don't know about attack Winterfell, but Theon seemed to be up to no good.
Oh, they were gonna attack someone. I just feel like danger is coming to Winterfell. Like, Winterfell is completely unguarded right now, so we might see some of that.
Okay. So, Winterfell danger, Bran.
Yeah.
Cool. Chapter 17 is Tyrion.
Ooh. Tyrion is gonna be doing something with chains, apparently. I hope we find out what's going on.
He's gonna make a bracelet for all of his best friends.
Wow. So...
Okay, so we're just gonna find about...
Yeah, we're gonna find out about his plan. We're gonna,
do some politicking.
Yeah, he's gonna hang out with Shay. He's gonna maybe make a plan about how to get Jaime back, because he hasn't talked about that in the last couple chapters we've seen him.
Okay. Alright. And then finally we have Sansa.
Okay. Maybe Sansa will be like... maybe in Sansa's chapter we'll find out more about what's... like... I don't know, how, like... Because Sansa doesn't really, like, get to do anything, so maybe we'll find out, like, more about, like, how King's Landing's doing overall. Because in this book we've just seen, like, their council meetings or whatever. So maybe it'll be like, oh my gosh, the castle is so much emptier now. Not, like, boring stuff like that, but, like, I don't know.
So just King's Landing update?
Yeah, I guess. Because, like, I just don't know what Sansa would be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, getting tortured.
Yeah, exactly. So that's really all there is.
Okay, then. That's everything. I am so ready for bed. And I have to, like, do a couple chores. I don't wanna. But, okay. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'm tired. Nini got me. Okay. What do we say? Oh, email us.
Yes, email us.
At
Let's
gmail.com.
go.
And then
Instagram story updates.
Until next time.
You always say that.
Yes, I don't know. I'm tired. Okay. Instagram. No, until next time. Bye. Farewell.
Talk to you later.
Yeah.